Okay, thank you very much everybody for being here this afternoon, and congratulations in particular to both teams who've reached the final. I'm so proud that this is a girls' final. Best of luck everybody. The debate today is this House believes we must harness AI to transform education. So over to our chairperson. Thank you.
Welcome to the final round of this year's House debate. In proposition is The Grange, made up of Leah, Vicky and Sifat. And opposing them is The Lakes with Tansy, Amelie and Emily. Can I have first speaker Leah to open for proposition, please?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges. My name is Leah, representing The Grange, and as today's first speaker, I've structured my argument as follows. I will talk about the benefits of AI in terms of help for teachers and also providing education to people in rural areas. And our second speaker, Vicky, will add on to my point about how it helps teachers and also its benefits for students. When most people think of AI, they imagine a robotic humanoid that has outsmarted humans and threatened our future. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, artificial intelligence is already part of our daily lives, using phones, cars, and social media. We often see it as something distant and futuristic, yet we depend on AI every day. So if it didn't offer all these real benefits, why would we rely on it so much? In low-resource areas where classrooms are overcrowded and qualified teachers are scarce, AI can act as a lifeline. Imagine a student in a rural village, eager to learn, but facing insurmountable obstacles with no textbooks, no internet access, and no personalized support. Yet with AI, they could have a tutor available 24/7, guiding them step by step through maths problems, reading exercises, or science lessons. According to a report by the World Bank, AI-powered learning platforms can help bridge educational gaps in underserved communities, therefore providing high-quality, adaptive tools even when teachers are absent. As well, a study by UNESCO also highlights that AI could help enable scalable, individualized instruction for millions of children in low-income areas, breaking the cycle of educational inequality. How can we, in good conscience, deny the promise of AI to these students whose futures are at stake? AI doesn't just offer lessons, it offers hope, opportunity, and a chance to rewrite the future for children who have been left behind. We have the opportunity to harness AI, not just as a tool, but as a beacon of possibility. AI is also crucial in aiding teachers. Imagine a teacher overwhelmed with the responsibility of tracking the progress of 30+ students, each with unique needs and challenges. AI can ease this burden by analyzing vast amounts of student data, test scores, attendance, participation, and engagement levels to provide teachers with real-time insights. A study by McKinsey & Co. shows that AI can help identify students at risk of falling behind, enabling early intervention with targeted support. This is especially relevant in today's day and age, where across England, 17% of primary schools and 23% of secondary schools are full or over capacity. Teachers across England are already struggling to provide education to children in these dire circumstances. Why should we leave teachers to rely solely on intuition when AI can give them tools to act with confidence and precision, providing precise and concise feedback to every child? Audience and judges, I would like to finish by saying this. Humans are resistant to change by nature. Criticizing and concentrating on negative aspects is our initial response to innovation. This has happened time and time again. Just take a look back in history when cars were first invented. People were angry and scared. But now cars are one of the most popular modes of transport, with over 77% of households in the whole of Great Britain utilizing them. Our opposition here is making the same mistake, panicking about something that we don't fully understand yet, when we could use it as a vital tool to change the world, to revolutionize learning, to significantly aid in teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be misguided by the fear you are made to feel of something that can be controlled and will truly only enrich learning further. Should our temporary fear really cost the education of millions? Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Can I have first speaker Tansy, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and fellow debaters, thank you to the proposition for outlining their case and noting the important part that AI could play in transforming education. Just to confirm, by AI we mean computer systems which can perform tasks usually requiring human intelligence. And by transforming education, we mean making dramatic changes to what currently exists, and we do not believe that AI alone can do this. Of course, we do acknowledge that AI could support teaching and learning in ways we can only begin to imagine. Before this, we must address the fundamental flaws in the UK educational system. The flaws are like cracks in the foundations of education. No matter how modern the building we place on top, the structure will fail unless the foundations are fixed. Therefore, I will outline some key foundations that need attention, such as issues with accessing technology and the need to reform the exam system, whilst my colleague Amelie will advance the debate by raising some of the problems associated with the use of AI, like sustainability, the loss of personal connections, and the destruction of creativity. Let me rebut what the previous speaker has said. They asserted that it could benefit teachers in rural areas and could bridge the gap between educational inequality. I will discuss educational inequality later in my speech. The benefits for teachers, I would like to bring up the example of the 2016 Jill Watson Georgia Tech, where Jill Watson was used to help teachers, and whilst this was indeed successful in grading basic generic questions, in the more difficult, complicated questions, it failed. The use of AI in grading could also lead to a more formulaic response and to diminish the originality and divergence of the student. Now I will discuss the problem with unequal access to technology and inequality. In our school, we are really fortunate. Everyone in this room has a phone and an iPad. We have a reliable internet connection, and we have computers in the science labs, in the library, in our houses. But this is not the reality for most schools in the UK. Many lack the resources, the infrastructure, and the training to effectively integrate even the most basic digital tools into teaching. How can we consider using complicated AI when most schools across the country have no access to the basic generic requirements? For instance, last year's Technology in School survey by the Department of Education found that 95% of UK schools said budgetary constraints were a barrier to increased use of technology. As an example, only 21% of schools across the country have access to a reliable internet connection. We aren't even at the point where we can even consider using AI spread out around schools. This digital divide means that many students are already at a huge disadvantage, and the proposition has stated that it would bridge the gap between educational inequality. But for underfunded schools, this does not help the gap between. Even if they can't afford the basic digital tools into learning, how can we expect them to afford complicated things like AI, where you need money, you need investments into training and how to use AI effectively, the initial setup, the costly data, and the maintenance? Now I will discuss the problems that we need to fix in the UK educational system, like standardised exams. Why are we so fixated on testing young children to measure academic performance, merely testing memory, not testing the skills like critical thinking, problem solving, and communication, which are crucial for 21st century life, which the use of AI would arguably hinder? All about behavioural issues. Like just yesterday, the BBC reported that suspensions in primary school children had doubled in just 10 years. That's 37,000 suspensions in the autumn term alone last year. Before we harness AI, let's harness our common sense. Let's identify what truly matters to our students, our teachers, and our societies. We need to take the opportunity to overhaul our educational system that is outdated and unfit for purpose, and AI is not the first step that we need to take. We cannot pour innovation into a broken system and expect meaningful change. Ladies and gentlemen, you must surely agree we must first fix the system, address the inequalities, provide proper funding, and abolish useless exams. Only then can AI become the tool that transforms education for the better, and even then we need to consider its hindrances. A vote for us is a vote for common sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Tansy. Can we have second speaker Vicky, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will be affirming why this House believes that we must harness artificial intelligence, in order to transform education. We live in a world facing unprecedented challenges, from overcrowded classrooms to significant inequalities in the access to quality education. AI offers a revolutionary solution. I'd like to explore with you today how artificial intelligence can prepare students for the future, building on what my teammate Leah said, how it can support our teachers, enhance global access and personalized learning. First, I'd like to rebut a few of the points stated by the opposition. When you say, although it's true that it is a challenge to have access, for many people and countries to have access to this type of intelligence, initiatives such as satellite internet are expanding access rapidly. Also, offline artificial intelligence solutions are being developed as we speak to work in low-resource environments. Furthermore, introducing artificial intelligence into education will help develop crucial skills, as it has already done in the United States, like critical thinking, programming, and data analysis. I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say that every student is unique, with individual strengths, weaknesses, and learning paces. I'd like you to imagine a classroom where each student receives a personalized instruction tailored to their specific needs. Traditional education often fails to address these differences, which does lead to disengagement and underachievement in the classroom. Platforms like Khan Academy already use algorithms to identify areas where a student may struggle in order to provide them with exercises to reinforce their understanding.
Although it can help. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. According to UNESCO, adaptive learning can improve student performance by up to 30%. Isn't it time that we give every student the personalized learning that they deserve? Education is a universal right, not a privilege. Yet millions of children across the world lack access to quality education. AI can bridge this gap. By using AI-driven platforms, we can deliver top-notch educational content to more remote and underserved areas. For example, Duolingo teaches millions of people languages across the world for free. In India, apps like MindSpark have also been used to significantly improve literacy and numeracy skills in more rural communities through AI-driven programs. Imagine a world where every child, regardless of location or socioeconomic status, has access to the same high-quality education. Can we afford to pass on such a transformative opportunity? I'd also like to state that AI isn't here to replace our teachers, but empower them. They spend countless hours on administrative tasks like grading and lesson planning, as Leah said. However, AI can take over these repetitive tasks, allowing teachers to focus on what truly matters, which is inspiring and educating students. The future job market will be dominated by technology and innovation. In fact, according to the World Economic Forum, by 2025, over 85 million jobs will have been displaced by machines. But 97 million new roles will have emerged, requiring tech-savvy skills. In conclusion, AI is not just a tool, but a catalyst for educational transformation. Its potential is immense, and the benefits outweigh the challenges. Let's not miss this opportunity to revolutionize education and create a brighter, more inclusive future for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Can I have second speaker, Amelie, please?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and fellow debaters. I'd like to thank the second proposition speaker, but confirm that we still stand in firm opposition to the motion that this House believes we must harness AI in order to transform education in the UK. While we recognise the allure of new technologies and what the exciting developments it can bring to our world, we cannot ignore the profound risks that come with integrating AI into such a crucial institution as education. Throughout the arguments of both the first and second speaker of the proposition, a lot of their argument based on the idea that AI should be accessible to everyone in schools. I cannot refute this. I think we can all appreciate the sort of advantages it can bring into education. However, this ideal relies on the basis that all students have access to iPads, laptops, and technology where they can use this to access AI and use it in their denied. When in reality, it's a very convenient argument for us to make when we are in such a fortunate position in a school where we have had to use iPads in lessons 24/7 from the age of 11 in year 7 until upper 6th. Whereas this isn't the case for many schools throughout the land, whether it's across the different continents or within the UK, when you have students down the road in local state schools where they are all relying on the use of singular laptops for them to use within multiple different year groups that they have to book out for individual sessions in a week. They do not have the ability to simply use it 24/7, as you stated, because we don't have the fundamental provision of tablets and iPads for these students in the first place. Let me make one thing clear. Education is not just about information, it is about inspiration and human connection and nurturing the minds of our future generations. Bringing AI into this domain comes with significant dangers such as dishonesty, unreliability, and issues with sustainability, as well as increased risk of cheating, which I shall address in my speech today. First, AI tools enable academic dishonesty. Students can access tools that can write essays, solve problems, and even pass exams with little to no input from them. This undermines the very basis of education, learning. If AI makes it easier for students to bypass genuine effort, we risk creating a generation who lack critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Education will become a box-ticking exercise rather than a richly creative and inspirational experience that lights a touch paper of creativity in every student, which is so vital for the future of our generations. Is this really the kind of education we want? Secondly, AI could replace teachers with unreliable and unproven technologies. We surely all agree that at the heart of education lies the expertise and passion of teachers. AI cannot replicate the ability to understand the individual needs of a student, and in the rush to harness AI, we risk replacing teachers with technologies we still have not proven and understood. Teachers bring creativity to the classroom. AI brings cold calculation. Do we really want to sacrifice the former for the latter? AI is a risk to creativity as we know it. Moreover, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, is it even possible to harness AI? History has shown us how quickly technology can spiral out of control when not properly understood or managed. By giving AI too much influence over our education system, we risk allowing machines without empathy, context, or nuance to make decisions about teaching and learning. While still in the hands of corporations or poorly regulated systems, AI could turn education into a profit-driven industry where algorithms prioritise cost-cutting over the needs of students. Finally, the question of sustainability. As AI models become more complex, their energy demands increase. We are only at the beginning, and already ChatGPT alone consumes mind-blowing amounts of energy. Each ChatGPT query consumes 10 times the amount more than a Google search, and in 1 year consumes enough power to charge 3 million electric cars. It would be far too costly a mistake for our planet to increase the AI reliance into education when this is a time where we must prioritise our environment and do all we can in order to persevere and save our future generations. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we do not oppose innovation, but we urge caution because education is far too important to gamble on understood technologies. Instead of rushing to harness AI, we beg you to harness common sense. This House resolutely believes we should not harness AI to transform education. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Can we have first opposition summary speaker, Emily, please?
Dear esteemed judges,
Chairperson, proposition, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start off by thanking both teams for such a great debate and raising so many thought-provoking points. As summary speaker, it falls upon me to summarise the debate and remind you of why we stand so firmly against the motion that we must harness AI to transform education. I would like to begin by summarising what was said. So the proposition said that AI can bring us individualised instructions and targeted support for individuals in classrooms. However, we're not trying to deny these students this opportunity. We are simply saying that their privacy must be protected, something which will not happen if that is implemented into the educational system. We agree that with the second speaker, that traditional teaching needs to be altered, but we have argued, both our speakers have argued, that it must first be altered by other means. Being resistant to change, as you called us, is always a good way to urge caution. You gave us an example with cars. However, when cars first came into place, not everyone had seatbelts, and that implementation later changed lives greatly. And that's what we're suggesting, to take a slower pace in transforming education rather than rushing in headfirst. You also said that AI could help students in rural areas and enhance global access through satellite access that is being established. However, that would need to be established first before implementing the AI. The students in rural areas also would not have any Wi-Fi, so how would they then access AI? And they would need a computer to do that as well. And finally, you brought in the point that AI would lead to an access of a high quality, equal education for all. However, within AI there are biases, and a large part of education relies on cultural differences, and that would be completely lost, and cultural, important parts of culture would be lost through giving AI the role of teaching. So is harnessing AI indeed the most efficient method of transforming education? Our first speaker, Tansy, raised the issue that education first needs to be transformed by other means, such as ensuring equal access to technology, a privilege so easily forgotten here at Millfield, where we use iPads daily with a quick access to Wi-Fi. Next, we need to modernise the assessment process and ensure that the material that we teach is fit for students in the 21st century. Our second speaker, Amelie, reminded us what education is really about, inspiring the minds of the future generations through human connection. Those relationships cannot be replaced. On top of that, artificial intelligence, as we all know, is a threat to academic integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we be so sure that young people will be able to develop critical and creative thinking with the use of AI? Finally, we cannot ignore the enormous environmental impact that it would have on the planet if we were to rush headfirst down this path. AI does indeed have an enormous potential to transform education. However, we do not know that it's a positive one. A right-minded, logical-thinking member of the audience would conclude that a vote for the proposition would not only be foolish, but it would also be risky. This House firmly stands against the motion that we must harness AI to transform education, and so should you. To do so may build a fantastic future, yes, but it would be on shaky, weak and cracked foundations, as we have explained, and therefore will ultimately fail. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Can we have proposition Sifa to sum it up, please?
I'm Sifa, closing for the Grange. Many good points were brought up during this debate, but I want to ask you this. Do we still cling to chalkboards in the age of smartboards? No. Denying AI in education is like refusing to use calculators in a math class. It's clinging to inefficiency when better tools are within reach. In a world where knowledge doubles every 12 hours, can we rely solely on traditional methods to prepare students for an unpredicted future? If you are sitting in the audience, you are either a teacher and a student. There are so many hours that you all have wasted, I'm sorry to say, but you could have used AI to enhance these hours. Many good points were brought up by the opposing team. Tansy, you brought out the UK government that there's not accessibility to everyone. But the UK government has been exploring ways to support AI in education through innovations such as the EdTech test buds and partnerships with organizations with teacher development to aid with cost-efficient AI tools accessible to everyone in schools. Leah had also mentioned that schools are reaching full capacity. Not everyone has access to education in person, so it doesn't even come to having iPads in school. It comes to having iPads and technology at home. And you might think, well, not everyone has that at home. But that is wrong because there are, I will come back to that later, but there are other options. There were also behavior issues which were brought up. However, AI can analyze data and give an early warning for students which show risks of harmful behavior, allowing teachers to understand which students to pay more attention to. Amelie, you mentioned that AI requires iPads, but it does not. Take ENSA education as an example. In sub-Saharan Africa, 90% of households have access to a mobile phone, but not a smartphone. They don't have access to iPads or laptops, none of that, not even internet access. Yet with AI-powered apps like ENSA Education, you can deliver lessons via SMS, eliminating the need for a smartphone or for internet signal. Additionally, it was said many times that not every house has access to a laptop. However, there are movements going around like the one laptop per child, where in Africa, where over 3 million low-cost laptops were distributed to children in more than 40 countries, such as Rwanda, Peru, Ethiopia. And these laptops are designed for rugged environments and include educational software. These children do not have access. They don't have the privilege that we do to go to school every day. But they have the access to these laptops, which can provide them with education through the use of AI. Why are we denying them that education? Take Byju's, for example. It has provided free access to over 150 million students, including many in rural India and other low-income countries. This resonates with me. My parents grew up in a small town in India where they had peers who were just as capable, if not more, as them, but they were not provided with the privilege to go to school every day. But they still found, if they were given the access to these AI-operated applications nowadays, they would be just as capable. They would have made so much more with their lives than we could have. Another example is the Bridge International Academies in sub-Saharan Africa, where they use AI-driven personalized lessons to serve 750,000 children in low-income regions. Restating what my peers said, we can use AI as personalized lessons. Students, I know you have spent many hours, many trial and failures trying to figure out what learning method works for you best, but you can use AI to find out what learning method will work for you personally. It can increase focus and attentivity by so much. So I must ask you again, why are we denying access to education worldwide if we don't use AI? If you go into a classroom, in every classroom there is in this school, you can see that we have so much more technology. This is because we have access to the technology. So let us use it in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, both teams, for your time. Whilst the judges are making their decision, let's have the audience take a vote. Please raise your hand if you agree that we must harness AI to transform education. And raise your hand if you oppose.
Thank you very much to both teams. Obviously, very current motion that we've chosen. As somebody who's a real advocate of AI, it was a real pleasure to hear both teams talk through the nuances of the argument. There's strengths and weaknesses in both teams. To save the suspense, I'm not going to go through everyone individually, but I am going to give some general team feedback. I think this is about the fourth debate that I've judged. So I know the mark scheme quite well by now. You get 3 levels of marking. There's content, there's delivery, and there's strategy. And I'm going to talk through each section for both teams. In terms of content for the Grange first team, real sense of understanding what AI is, a real sense of looking at statistics and well-researched and trying to figure out what information that you can bring in to back up your argument. What I would have liked a bit more of is you, because you're the proposing team, really owning that motion, because we felt that you were speaking about England when AI was obviously in the start, in the beginning speech, when there's AI is like a global and can have global impact. So I felt, and we felt, it was missing a little bit of the global impact from the start. However, there was really good research and statistics. All three speakers had very clear and confident delivery. I think nerves got to some of you, which is understandable. And in terms of strategy, we felt the case was really well split, and rebuttals were good. There could have been a little bit more signposting. At times, it wasn't very clear which direction it was travelling in, which is okay because we're talking about AI, so it could be a little bit uncertain at times. But yeah, really well developed case, so well done for that. Lakes, you were opposing. We felt that in terms of content, you had really kind of guessed which way it was going to travel. Like the way that it was you were quite forward thinking, which I think none of us know which way AI is going to go. So it was really interesting to hear the kind of nuances of the argument and the way that you were seeing it developed. Some very well interesting statistics. In terms of delivery, again, very confident, clear deliveries. Some pace was quite fast at times, but that's understandable considering that this is the final. Signposting very clear. You identified the clash points. What I would like to have seen more of, and I think this is something that myself and Mrs. Gray are probably going to look at and try to encourage, is use of POIs. That's the thing that I really like because it's the thing that puts you to the spot, and you get to see your most confident debaters if you're dealing with a POI, if you're dealing with something on the spot. So I think in the whole debate there was only one POI offered, and that was denied. So that is something that going forward with debating, I think we're probably going to look at. Congratulations to both teams for getting this far. Congratulations for thinking about a debate, which I think is quite difficult because every single day there is a new AI development. So if you prepared the speech 3 days ago, it could have changed by today. So I felt like you developed both sides of the argument very clearly. Mrs. Reeve is now going to announce the best team.
Okay, so first of all, just really want to sort of mirror a little bit of what Mrs. said. Please be very, very proud of yourselves. It is incredibly difficult to stand up time and time again and do debates in front of your peers and staff. So none of us underestimate how difficult that is for everyone. The timescales have been really challenging, and you still have had prep. And you might have had exams, you might have had personal statements to write, plans of other kinds. So thank you very much for all of your hard work. Remember, you beat all of the other houses to get to the final. So do not forget that. That is not easy. The winning team is the Legs.